Welcome back. You're on the Daren Streblow Comedy Show. And with me today, two dear friends who have teamed together for something pretty amazing, pretty special. I got Kerri Pomarolli and Bob Smiley on the line. Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going, Daren?
Hi, Daren.
It's nice to hear your voices. I don't normally have two comedians on together, so this is fun.
I feel bad because I'm like breathing hard because I just got out. I just started this new French exercise class called Lamaze. I'm like so worn out.
And Bob, Lamaze is not a place to meet women. Like, I don't know what new scheme you're working on, or...
I don't think I'm going to stick with it because everybody in there is totally out of shape. Like, nobody...
Yeah. And most of them are taken, Bob. I don't know if you got the memo on that.
Okay, so that's why they were ignoring me. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to have you both on today because you've both started a new tour with a ministry aspect that's been getting a lot of attention. You both have, coincidentally, had some pretty hard stuff happen over the last few years. You both went through some very painful divorces that you didn't ask for. And both of you are Christians and work a lot in Christian culture. And as you've been transparent with Christians about your divorces, what feedback have you been getting from Christian people?
For me, I was pleasantly surprised because I started talking about it pretty early, and I thought the churches would be against me coming in and talking about divorce, and and saying that you can get through anything, God can get you through, whatever Satan's throwing at you. And I was surprised that I haven't gotten any flack. I've been divorced for 2 years. I've been talking about it for 2 years. I haven't had one negative response at all from any churches. And then what I'm seeing afterwards is after the show is people coming up to me saying that they're going through the same thing or they're struggling or they've been through it and they're trying to encourage me to say, hey, look, I've been through it, but now I'm happy and I'm remarried. And, so it's been nothing but encouraging for me on my side.
How about you, Kerri?
I feel like Bob is like our Norma Ray for Christian comedians that happen to be single. Like, Bob is, he's the pioneer. But if it wasn't for Bob, I don't think I would have had the courage to really, come full circle about it. But Bob gave me some really good advice. I said, I have nothing to say about this. There's nothing funny. It's all sad. It's all tragic. And he said, you don't have to talk about it until you feel that you're ready. Now, I've been
nice
apart
advice.
From my ex-husband for 2.5 years. In November, it'll be 3 years. It's only been through this experience with Bob and seeing the response from singles that I've had, like, the courage to say I'm single and follow that up with and I'm okay, and realize the impact that has on so many people. So working with Bob on this tour has been like a huge pleasant surprise.
Now, the tour you're talking about is single is not a 4-letter word.
Right.
Using comedy and encouragement to minister to the newly single or the person who's been single for a while. So have churches been receptive to it?
Well, I didn't know, if churches were ready for somebody to talk about divorce. I didn't know if they would even hire me to come in if they found out I was divorced. Because, I grew up in the church where if you were divorced, you were kind of shunned. You'd kind of lost your value. And so, but as I just started dealing with being single and being divorced and looking around, there was not a lot of stuff for single people. And so that's kind of what made me want to start talking about it, is because I would run into all these single people and I was like, what kind of activities do you guys have at your church? And they're like, we have nothing. And I was like, yeah, we don't either. And so that's when I just decided I was going to just take the reins and go with it. So, I just went on stage and talked about it. And afterwards I was just floored of how many people came up, and said that they were struggling with it. And, it just turned into an encouraging thing. And one of the things we just want to do is let people know they're not alone. Being a single dad raising 3 kids is tough. Like I'm teaching them how to do dishes and how to do laundry, which we can do at the same time because we have a huge pool. But you got to teach kids that stuff, right?
And he's not kidding, Daren. Like, if you see Bob's Facebook, like, I am appalled on so many levels.
You know what we did last week, seriously, is we put duct tape on the bottom of our shoes and played tag so we didn't have to vacuum. So it totally worked.
Now, I know your audiences are enjoying you talking about these struggles comedically. They're benefiting from it. But do you two feel better when you talk about these struggles on stage?
I feel better when Bob brings his struggles up to comedic light, and then I get to laugh at them. And I'm mad at you right now, Bob, because I feel that you're dating like without me, and I'm not emotionally involved. And usually, Bob likes to run his dating stories by me because it brings me so much joy, and just considers over and over and over why I do not want to date. Just like listen to him for 5 seconds, and I'm like, homie, don't play that. So it brings me a lot of joy to hear his adventures, as we would call them, and I think the audiences have a good time listening to him.
Now, let me ask a question that a lot of audiences are asking you. Are you two dating each other?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No. Not.
You get along pretty well, you know. A lot of people think you two get along pretty well.
Yeah, but when I talk, I want somebody to listen and not wait for their turn to talk. So,
you know, and I'm looking for someone with a 401k plan, like comedians. I've already.
You both love Jesus. I know that about you from being friends with you.
Yes.
What has Jesus taught you in the midst of all this pain?
For me, just that, you know, every day that you think like you can't get through it, he will find a way to shower you with enough blessing to get you through each day. Like there were some real rough days at the beginning of like, you know, how am I going to get through this? Well, you know, the kids were brokenhearted, and, you know, it was real depression. And every single time that I just thought I just can't keep going, like God would do something. Somebody would call me, or, you know, something cool would happen. I shared on your show last year about how we were going snow skiing and it hadn't snowed. And so we thought we weren't going to get to actually ski. And my youngest son prayed for it for like 3 weeks, and they got 4 foot of snow the day before we got there.
Oh, neat.
And then they didn't have snow the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And so little stuff like that where you just like that's what I've learned is like when you really honestly think you can't go on, you got to just like pick up the Bible, or, you know, just keep your eyes focused on God, and he'll get you through it.
How about you, Kerri?
I really thought I was going to be on OkCupid before the ink dried on my divorce papers, because that mentality of fear was just like, I need to put a groom in this box. And, you know, it's just has not been that way. It's been completely God, and God is like, I got you. Like, even just financially, like God is like, I've got you. I will bless you. You will continue to be able to raise these girls. But it has been the hardest thing I've ever had to endure. And I will say to anybody who's listening, if you can find a friend that has gone through a similar circumstances, I can't tell you the number of times, even, you know, comedy aside, Bob and I have just like been there for each other as friends, just being like, tell me this is going to get better, because it just has to. And it's like different seasons, you know, maybe somebody had been through something similar and they're like, yes, I remember feeling that way. I remember that it's going to get better. And it does. It just always does, because God is faithful.
I want to point out that you two have gone through some pretty painful divorces, and this was not your choice. You did not ask for this.
No.
This sort of happened to both of you. Okay.
Right.
Somebody who was thinking about attending one of your tours might say, you know, they're both divorced. I bet they don't esteem marriage or God's plan for marriage. How would you respond to that?
I would love to talk to anybody that thinks that, because I have always championed how awesome marriage is. In fact, the DVD before my new one just came out, not that I'm plugging my new DVD, Breaking Bob.
Breaking Bob. Yeah.
The DVD before that was called Mullets on Fire, and it was mostly about how awesome marriage is and how amazing my wife is. And so that's been a struggle, because I've got all those clips online about my marriage vows and how happy I am being married. And so when I do meet these girls online, they immediately can Google me, because I kind of live in a fishbowl, and they immediately respond like, "You're married. Why are you on a dating site?" And I'm like, "Doggone it,
Bob! My proposal is online. My marriage proposal is all over
That's
YouTube."
Right.
Yeah. So
That's right.
So I would say all those words that I put on that DVD, Mullets on Fire, is still absolutely true. I think marriage is a gift. I think you take a vow, and love is a choice, not really a feeling. And I think that if you are focused on God, then marriage can be one of the greatest adventures in life. And so, our tour is not anything like against marriage or, you know, people getting married, or we're not saying be single all your life, or, you know, we're just saying that if you are single, you're okay. You still have value.
And Bob is trying so very, very, very hard not to be single. So I think he's very
That shows something.
You know what I did? You know what I did last week?
What?
I'm
scared.
I did speed dating.
Speed dating?
And do you know what it is? Like
No, I have no idea what it is.
Like
you shouldn't, Daren.
No, a bunch of single people in their 40s, and I don't want to stereotype, but there was a sign that said "No cats allowed." So I'm like,
Amen, brother.
So what you do is you sit across the table from somebody for 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to talk, and you meet. I think I met like either 23 or 27 people. And you do it. You have exactly 3 minutes to just like get to know each other.
Were you doing your act, Bob?
Well, no, it's because it was so awkward. Like the first girl that sat down in front of me, she had like all these face piercings. She had neck tattoos, and she sat down and she goes, "I grew up in the hood." And I didn't know what to say, so I go, "My head gets cold sometimes, so I wear a hood." And
oh, my gosh.
She took out, like, a penknife and started cleaning her nails and just sat there the rest of the time. And then one girl, this is so, because I was trying to be funny, because that's kind of my hook.
Yeah.
One girl sat down, and she goes, "All right, this is weird. I'm newly single." And I go, "Oh, so you have a gun and a shovel." And what she should have done... She should have laughed.
Right.
But what she did was she went, "Yeah?" What? So I started cleaning my nails.
Hey, Bob, can you tell Daren your quote, my favorite quote about dating over 40?
Oh, yeah. That the first 5 dates is basically just looking for the crazy.
I just love that so
It's
much.
absolutely true. The first 5 days,
And
you're
Daren,
just looking for the crazy.
Seeking and defining the crazy.
If I'm over 40 and I date, I think that the men online that think I'm age appropriate are like 85 years old, and they have profiles that are like, "See you Tuesday." I'm like, "You're not going to live that long."
That's exactly right.
And I'm like, if you're rich, I'm totally open to that, because dating for me, if I ever date, all I care about, Daren, is like, what is your credit score and do you snore?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care about your hobbies. I'm not going to see you. We're married. I got asked out by a 21-year-old, and he was like, "Why won't you give me a chance?" And I was like, "Well, first of all, I could have given birth to you, so that's my first rule." And not. And like, I got asked out by a dentist, and my 9-year-old daughter was like, "You can't go out with a dentist. I'm not spending Halloween sugar-free." It's healthy. I want everyone to know that I do discuss all my opportunities of dating with my 9-year-old daughters.
This is Kerri Pomarolli and Bob Smiley. They are not dating.
No.
And if you're not dating, a great place to go is their tour.
Even if you are.
Or even if you are. Sure, absolutely. If you're single is not a 4-letter word, is the place you want to go. Now, you have an online presence, so talk about that. How can people get in touch with you and attend one of your conferences?
We promise Bob will not stalk you, but please come to our Facebook page. And I
don't know if you
control
can
all the
promise
content.
that.
I know.
Well, Bob, like, oh, he's like, "We got a new one on the Facebook." I'm like, "Bob, pull it back, bro. Pull it back."
Well, their ministry is called Single is Not a 4-Letter Word. They're on Facebook. They have a website, and you can find their link on our website over at DarenStreblow.com. Hop on our site to hop on their site. Check it out. Support them. Pray for them as they launch this important ministry.
You.
And if you're single in need of encouragement, check them out. Kerri Pomarolli and Bob Smiley, thanks so much for being on the show and being vulnerable and for launching this important ministry. Thanks for what you do, my friends.
Thanks for having us on, Daren.
Thanks, Daren.
The Daren Streblow Comedy Show.